everyone, it's Ellison from Ellison Institute. Today I will be starting my new series where I discuss forgotten events in history. And today's episode will be about the Norwegian Heavy Water Sabotage. The heavy water was important to the Germans because it has this special structure that makes nuclear weaponry possible. In the 1930s, Ernest Rutherford and James Chadwick discovered that if they take an atom and a neutron and combine it, the atom will break down and release an immense amount of energy during its breakdown process. After this, Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann, I don't know how to pronounce it, realized that taking a uranium atom and one neutron would lead to explosives, releasing more neutrons. And these neutrons would split up and it would create a chain reaction. This would lead to the question for Nazi Germany. The question being, could this be made into a bomb for this war? To make this bomb out of this discovery that they made and that they thought would be successful, they thought that they could use heavy water because of its length of reactivity opposed to normal water, which has a shorter duration of reactivity. The problem that they ran into with the production of this water was that it took too much regular plain water to actually get the heavy water in return. It took 25 tons or 50,000 pounds just to get 1 pound of heavy water. So now Norway is introduced to this situation. There was a hydropower plant in Norway called Vemork. They chose this plant because of its past experience and what they were experimenting with, and because of their supply in heavy water. In 1940, Germany forces themselves into Norway and they invade it. What they want out of Norway had already been smuggled out of their country. Even though more heavy water would be produced later on, they still were able to get rid of the stuff that they already had. The Norwegian chief of the plant thought smart and kept Britain informed about the plant throughout. In the year of 1942, the plant was producing 286 pounds of hard water each month. Heinsberg, a German physicist behind all of this, received more funds to increase the production. He decided to plan out the building of a second hydro plant. During all of this, a group called SOE, standing for Special Operations Executive, in Britain, which was created to sabotage parts of this war toward their enemies, were trying to sabotage this plant. They wanted to protect Western Europe. This was difficult to pull off because if any worker tried to pollute or wreck the water, they had to be sentenced to death. SOE made the decision to train a force, and some of those people in that force were a part of the Norwegian army. While training, there had been attacks on Norway attempting to destroy and sabotage plants and railroads. Because of this, hydro plants were being guarded with barbed wire, lights to catch the attackers, and other things. In the year of 1942, groups from SOE parachuted onto the land near the rivers where the water that was being made into heavy water came from. Their job on this land was to find possible landing spots or sites for where their gliders could go. Later, glider planes made an attempt to reach Norway, but failed to complete their goal. Many of the planes trying to reach Norway had crashed. All commandos were required to be interrogated, the surviving ones, but none of them were. The Norwegian troops were sent to parachute onto land again and ski all the way to the plant's location and destroy their materials. They skied across the abyss to reach the railway without being caught by guards by sneaking past. Splitting into two, one group got inside, lowering themselves into the basement to the room with the capacitors. Around the equipment, they set a highly flammable compound called nitrocellulose, then escaping out the plant store. As they escaped, they ran the railroad lines without being caught. Because of this, it put the Germans' production of heavy water behind the time they wanted it complete. It led them to move their plants out of Norway and into Germany. They set out the heavy water on boats, but the Norwegians were able to sink it, putting most of the water they produced into the Norwegian Lake Tin. It is so important to learn about history that has been blinded away and kind of shunned out of textbooks. So I hope you guys learned something today. Thank you for watching. Bye!